Back here at Petco Park, welcoming to our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres win it 2-0 to take the middle game of this three-game series against the Athletics. The fireworks are blasting away here in downtown San Diego. A sold-out crowd enjoying a big light show. The fireworks blasting off right over the playing field, and these fans saw a really sort of weird but really fun game here tonight. Most importantly, a Padre win as they win it 2-0. The Padres collecting just 2 hits in this win here tonight. The first time the Padres have won a ball game on 2 hits or fewer since June of 2017. Padres able to scratch across some runs against JT Ginn, the A starter, and then it was all about the bullpen. Just terrific once again after Lucas Giolito went 5 scoreless innings. Jeremiah Estrada, Adrian Morajón, Jason Adam, Mason Miller combining for 4 scoreless innings out of the pen. Mason Miller, his 16th save of the season, now 16 for 16 in save opportunities. He put on the finishing touch to tonight's 2-0 win. I caught up with Mason on the field moments ago.
Mason now 16 for 16 in save opportunities this season. The stuff speaks for itself, but what's allowing you to have this kind of consistency?
Just showing up, trying to get the job done every single day. It starts in the afternoon when I get here, and it ends here at the end of the game. So just staying on top of everything, being consistent.
You spoke earlier this week about the respect you have for those guys in the other dugout. You came up with that A's organization. Was it a little weird to face them here tonight?
I thought it was going to be a little bit more weird, but once the game starts, it kind of just feels like another game. I love those guys over there. I owe them a lot, so just grateful to compete with them and always root for them.
Another close game, and this bullpen once again does such an excellent job. The high leverage guys, Estrada, Morajón, Adam, and you. How do you guys continue to just throw up zeros so consistently?
Just rise to the occasion. It's next guy up always. We have a lot of hope, a lot of expectations on every single guy down there, and it's contagious, really. You just want to do your part and get the ball to the next guy.
Mason, another sold-out crowd here tonight. Just how much have you enjoyed playing in these types of games, close games, in this building in particular?
Can't say enough about the fans. They make it great. It's a beautiful ballpark, but it's nothing without the fans that pack it out every single game, and we love playing in front of them each and every opportunity we get.
Mason, another great job here tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was Mason Miller right after tonight's 2-0 win. Mason collecting his 16th save of the season. He continues to be simply tremendous, lowers his ERA to 0.76 on the season. And by the way, credit to Mason, who is coming off the field, off the mound right after that save and then doing post-game interviews. Got to imagine his heart is still pumping after coming off the mound, but does a great job in the interviews, as he always is, cool, calm, and collected, and he picks up the save as the Padres win it 2-0. When we come back, we'll recap this game from start to finish. We'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen coming up a little bit later as well. Padres have won the first 2 games of this series against the A's. They win it on this Saturday 2-0. Our post-game coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Woodsy here. Your water is
Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Final score here tonight, Padres 2 and the A's nothing, as the Padres have taken the first two games of this three-game series. Padres will go for a sweep tomorrow here at Petco Park, and the good news about tomorrow's game, they will hand the ball to right-hander Michael King, so a very good chance to sweep tomorrow against the A's. But first things first, our full Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Hey, player, with epic SoCal views, a full bar, and poolside bites. Starlight Pool at Jamul Casino Resort is pool season perfected, and day passes are available. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Well, I'll tell you, this was a weird game. It really, really was. Let's dive into it with our game highlights.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Again, I got to be honest with you. This game was a doozy in the first few innings. Here we go. Lucas Giolito allowed back-to-back singles to begin the game. The A's had runners on first and third with nobody out, but then Giolito retired Shea Langoliers, Brent Rooker, and Tyler Soderstrom to end the inning. In the bottom half of the inning, A's right-hander JT Ginn took the mound. He walked two, but the Padres did not score. Ginn then walked three more hitters in the bottom half of the second. The Padres had the bases loaded with one out. Ginn then hit Fernando Tatis Jr. with a 94-mile-per-hour sinker. That gave the Padres a 1-0 lead. That's all they would score in the second. Ginn threw 45 pitches in the second inning. And by the way, the fireworks going off here at Petco Park. That's what you hear in the background. Giolito then walked the leadoff man in the top of the third, but with the help of a double play ball, Giolito got out of the inning. Ginn issued his sixth walk of the night on a one-out free pass to Nick Castellanos in the bottom half of the third. That was it for Ginn. He left with the Padres leading 1-0. Ginn threw 73 pitches in just 2 innings and a third. Jackson Merrill then doubled against A's lefty Jose Suarez. That sent Castellanos to third base. Ty France brought Merrill home with a ground out. The Padres led 2-0. So all the walks for Ginn coming back to bite him. Padres manufacturing some offense, a 2-0 lead. Giolito then got in major trouble in the top of the fourth inning. Like Ginn did earlier in the game, Giolito issued 3 walks to load the bases with 1 out. The A's had Giolito under a lot of pressure. The count went to 3-2 on the Athletics' Jeff McNeil.
Here's the pitch. And a ground ball to the right side. France has it on the backhand. Goes to second one. Song's return is in time. A double play to end the inning. It was bang, bang, and the A's do not have a challenge. The inning is over.
And that was a key point. The A's did not have a challenge at that point. They had used it earlier in the game, and they did not have a successful challenge, so they were out of their challenges, and it was a bang-bang play at first base. Very well could have been that McNeil beat that ball out, but first base umpire said out, a huge double play, and Giolito was out of the inning. He returned for the 5th inning. He gave up a leadoff single. Carlos Cortez was next.
2-2. Cortez lines it right to first. France makes the catch, hits the bag. Another unassisted double play. Ty France having a big night defensively. 2 down here in the 5th.
Yeah, another big double play induced by Lucas Giolito. That ball was hit hard, but right at the first base bag. Really easy play for Ty France. Giolito got through 5 innings. He walked 5 in the game, but again, he did not allow a run. From that point on, it was time for Craig Stammen to activate the Padres bullpen. Jeremiah Estrada pitched the scoreless 6th inning. Adrian Morajón pitched a 1-2-3 top of the 7th inning. Padres still led 2-0. Going to the 8th inning, Jason Adam came in. He struck out the first batter, Nick Kurtz, but then gave up a 1-out double to Shea Langoliers. So the tying run at the plate, the cleanup man, Brent Rooker, coming up for the A's. He struck him out. He struck out Tyler Soderstrom, looking to end the inning. 3 strikeouts in that 8th inning for Jason Adam. Padres didn't score in the bottom half of the 8th inning, so we went to the 9th inning. Former Athletic Mason Miller facing his old team for the very first time. Mason Miller struck out Zach Geloff for out number 1. He struck out Henry Bolte for out number 2. The Padres up 2-0, 2 outs, nobody on in the 9th inning. The game left up to the A's, Jeff McNeil.
2-0 Padres, 2 outs, base is empty. Here's the 1-0. McNeil swings, grounds into the right side. Backhanded by France. He'll flip to Miller, covering in time. And Mason Miller, a 1-2-3 ninth inning to seal the deal against his old team as the Padres beat the A's 2-0. They have won the series. They'll take out their brooms tomorrow afternoon. And for the first time since 2017, the Padres have won a game in which they collected 2 hits or fewer. It wasn't pretty, but it ain't a style competition, and the Padres shut out the A's 2-0.
Well said by Jesse. I totally agree. What a weird game. San Diego has 2 hits on the night. The A's had 5. Padres win it 2-0. No errors for either side. The winning pitcher, Lucas Giolito, improves to 2-0. He walked 5 in this game, but did not give up a run. JT Ginn walked 6 in 2 innings and a third. He threw 73 pitches in 2 innings and a third. JT Ginn drops to 2-3, and a quick and easy 1-2-3 inning for Mason Miller. Now 16 for 16 in save opportunities this season. Padres with the win, up to 11 games above 500 at 31-20. The A's drop back to 500 at 26-26. And as Jesse said in the final call there, first time the Padres have won a game with 2 hits or less since June of 2017, June 23rd, 2017, against the Detroit Tigers. So how about that? I mean, just a remarkable win here tonight. And again, a great example, as we've discussed so often, about the strength of the Padres bullpen. Estrada, Morejon, Adam Miller combining for 4 scoreless innings after Lucas Giolito went 5 scoreless to pick up the win. It is, by the way, the 6th shutout win for the Padres and their 3rd since May 15th. So they're winning games and they're also shutting out teams. Really nice win. Certainly a weird win, not a pretty win, like Jesse alluded to, but hey, we don't complain about wins, right? And now the Padres have an opportunity to sweep this series tomorrow afternoon. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. A full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up later as well. We'll get to your phone calls and much, much more. Padres win it 2-0 against the A's on this Saturday night. Our postgame coverage continues after this.
You're listening to
Petco Park, Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building. Final score here tonight, Padres 2 and the A's nothing. The fireworks show has concluded here in downtown San Diego. Awesome fireworks show. Fans enjoying it. Another sold-out crowd here tonight on what was a great Saturday evening here at Petco Park. And we're still with you here on the post-game coverage. We'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen coming up in just a little bit. Get to our daily awards. We'll also have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming your way as well. If you want to get a phone call in, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, phone number to call. This was, I got to tell you, a wacky game. Like I said a few times already, just a weird, wacky game. And quite honestly, the first 4 or 5 innings, it was just a total walkapalooza. Let's just quickly go. I know I went through it on the game recap, but just before we hear from Craig, go through this game again, inning by inning. You had the A's putting runners on first and third with nobody out in the first inning. They didn't score. You had JT Ginn walking 2 in the first inning. Padres didn't score. You had Giolito issuing a walk in the second with 2 outs. Really no big deal. A's didn't score. Then you had the second inning where Ginn walks the bases loaded, hits Tatis with a pitch to bring in the game's first run. Padres don't score more than 1. Then you had the top of the third. It was Giolito issuing a leadoff walk, gets a double play, gets out of the inning scoreless. Bottom half of the third, Ginn issues his 6th walk of the night. Padres get a run on a ground out. Then Jose Suarez comes in for the A's. He issues a 7th walk of the evening for A's pitching. Again, the Padres drew 7 walks in the first 3 innings of this game. They led 2-0 after 3. Then you had Giolito with the Padres up 2-0. Walk the bases loaded like Ginn did earlier in the game, and then he gets out of it on a 3-2 pitch to McNeil on a 3-6-3 double play, and it was a bang play at first base. A's didn't have a challenge to use, so they couldn't challenge it. Looked very, very close. I didn't see a real good replay of it, but I wouldn't be shocked if it were challenge worthy because of how close it was. But Giolito gets out of that. Then it settled in a little bit. Giolito did give up a single to begin the 5th inning, got a line out double play right at first base to help him through a scoreless 5th inning. So Giolito walked 5. He had 3 double plays turned behind him. And after all that, the Padres had a 2-0 lead. But this is where this game went from wacky and weird, with the starting pitchers issuing 11 walks in the first 5 innings of the game. 11 walks between Giolito and Ginn. But this game got real serious once the Padres went to their bullpen. And this was another excellent example here tonight of when the Padres have a lead, when the Padres are in a close game, if it's tied, to me, the odds swing in the Padres' favor in a major way because of this bullpen. And you could feel it. 2-0 lead, and you're sitting there thinking, well, good luck, A's, because you got Estrada for the 6th inning. You've got Morahone for the 7th inning. You've got Adam for the 8th inning. And you've got Mason Miller for the 9th inning. And guess what? 4 scoreless innings combined. Everybody did their job. Are you surprised? I mean, this bullpen is the best in baseball, and we have learned most times, it's not going to be automatic every time, but we have learned most times you give this bullpen a lead, even the slimmest of margins, and tonight it was only 2, there's a pretty good chance that they are going to bring you home, that they're going to win this game for you. And they've just been marvelous. It's the best bullpen in baseball, and it is a major advantage the San Diego Padres have over every other team in the sport right now. The dominance of this bullpen. They've got, to me, 3 guys that would be maybe closers on other teams. Morahone, Adam, and Estrada. I mean, certainly Morahone and Adam. I'd put Jeremiah in that mix as well. I mean, they've got guys that are closers on other teams. So that's the way you got to look at it. They've essentially, to me, got 3-4 closers. And you know what? I'll throw Bradley Rodriguez in the mix too. I mean, he's right there as well. So it's a major advantage. And this was the kind of game that, to me, illustrated just the dominance and the importance of this Padres bullpen, because if you can, tonight's such a good example of it. Nothing the Padres did was pretty offensively at all, but they were able to scratch across 2 runs. Lucas Giolito was able to somehow get through 5 scoreless innings. And most importantly, the Padres were able to get the game to the later innings with a lead, with all the big guys available out of the bullpen. And when they are in that position, this is a team that is awfully hard to beat. When they are ready to fire and ignite that bullpen and activate that bullpen, those big-time relievers, good luck. Good luck. So tonight was a prime example of that, and so the Padres win it 2-0. With all that in mind, let's go downstairs and hear some post-game reaction from Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be.
Greg, what do you make of? There's a lot of different ways that game could have gone.
Yeah, it could have went a lot of different ways. It was a very unexpected way that game went. We couldn't get like the big hit in that situation, but we definitely took great at bats and worked a lot of walks and hit by pitch. So we made him work really, really hard. 45 pitches in that second inning, definitely gave us the advantage. We definitely had won the time of possession as far as that goes, if you want to go in football terms. But, we got our safety and got out of there.
Game like this, you appreciate having a Gold Glover at first base?
Yeah, exactly. Ty made a lot of great plays tonight. That double play, that ground ball double play that he turned. I told him he was Steph Curry shooting a 3, where he caught it, threw it to first without looking, and got back to the bag. And, big play right there with bases loaded, 1 out. We're up 2-0. We're getting the bullpen going a little bit, trying to get Lucas out of that, and comes up with a huge double play right there.
Also, one of that double play, you got a guy who's playing shortstop for like the second time. You got to appreciate having Song there.
Yeah, exactly. I feel really good about him playing anywhere on the infield. He's just pretty sure-handed, and he's handled all the position changes really well. From a guy that's played really one position, mostly coming over to a different country, and now we're moving him all around. He's handled it really well and knows where he's fitting in on the team, and he's doing a great job.
It's kind of showing you more of the same, like, veteran savviness, getting out of jam after jam without anything.
Yeah, exactly. I think, he had 5 walks tonight. Their starter had 6 walks tonight. It wasn't the prettiest pitching. I know he would admit that too. He was definitely feeling off the entire game and searching for answers in the dugout, trying to figure out, his mechanics and get them right for the next inning and try to, find it as the game went on. But he just battled, competitiveness, knew he's never out of it, know he's 1 pitch away. Those are all things that you can rely on as a veteran pitcher, being, mentally tough and be able to get out of some of those jams. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but, more often than not, when you stay mentally tough, you can get out about anything.
What's happening in the dugout during the first 5 innings like that, where you're just kind of like wondering, is it going to break open? Or
Yeah, I think, we're all, we're mixed in every at bat, and every at bat we're cheering every walk and every 3-2 battle and every pitch that they lay off that's close. We're just celebrating the small wins. That's what we're trying to do. And, eventually we have a bunch of small wins that's going to turn into a lot of big things. And, we're not going to score 10 runs every night, 7 runs every night. Every once in a while, it's going to be like this. Hopefully it's less often than not. But, any way we can find a way to win and hand the ball over to our bullpen with the lead is a good job for us.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 2-0 win over the A's. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building. Our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. The Players Place, a lot of good stuff there from Craig Stammen. Let's talk about the defense, because that was really the highlight of this game. I mean, I was joking about this with our studio coordinator, Jeff Hamby, over text message as the game is going on. But, throughout the game, we put together the radio highlights. You hear, we coordinate. And I'm sitting there saying, well, I need some radio highlights. A hit by pitch isn't making the radio highlights. That's the way the Padres scored the first run. And a ground out was the second highlight. Or I should say the second way the Padres scored a run to make it 2-0. And it became clear as the game rolled along and the narrative of the game was being built that the defense and the big outs in this game, those were the story of the game. And you got to give a lot of credit to Ty France at first base. He played an excellent first base tonight. Think about it this way. Padres are leading 1-0 in the third. Giolito walks the leadoff man, Cortez. Then a ground out, or I should say a ground ball to first base. France does a really good job stepping on the first base bag. He was ready to throw down to second base, but it was kind of weird. Cortez actually went back to first base. I think he was trying to pull a little trickery, have France throw to second kind of so quickly that he could get back to first base, but Cortez actually did it too quickly. So it ended up being a double play anyway. Then you had the fourth inning, Padres up 2-0. The 3-2 pitch on McNeil with the bases loaded, huge moment. And, I mean, the A's really looked like they had Giolito on the ropes. He had walked the bases loaded, the count's full on McNeil, and then McNeil hits a ground ball to first base. And you heard Craig Stammen say there was a great analogy. It was like Steph Curry, shooting a three and, running away towards midcourt, when Curry's on one of those heaters and he just shoots it and he turns the other way. He knows it's going in. That's kind of like what Ty France was doing there. He threw the baseball that immediately turned and went back to first base, like in one smooth motion. And he had to do it quickly. I mean, he didn't have time to waste because they just got Jeff McNeil at first base. And what was the biggest moment of the night, that 3-6-3 double play. And you have Sungmoon Song at shortstop. And it was a good question there by Kevin Acey of the San Diego Union Tribune. You have Sungmoon Song at shortstop, who is definitely sure-handed, but shortstop is not a position he spent a lot of time at. I mean, he did not play there in the KBO, was asked to play there a little bit at spring training, and now is being asked to start major league games at shortstop. And he made a wonderful return throw back to first base, hard and on target, and they just got McNeil at first base. And then France in the fifth inning, Padres up 2-0, leadoff single. Cortez hits a ball hard, but right at first base, line drive. France picks it out of the air, steps on first, boom, double play. I mean, within a span of 3 consecutive innings, Ty France made 3 really good defensive plays and initiated 3 double plays in 3 innings, in the third, fourth, and fifth. And that was the story of the game here tonight. And by the way, France drove in the second run with a ground out. Again, nothing fancy, nothing pretty offensively tonight, but the Padres generated enough offense early in this game. Lucas Giolito somehow, some way found a way to get out of trouble. And look, it was, and I'm sure he would sort of agree here, it was like kind of miraculous he got through 5 innings with no runs given up, considering all the base traffic and the walks and everything that was going on. But to his credit, he got through 5 scoreless innings. And again, when you get to the 6th and the 7th and the 8th and the 9th with this Padres bullpen, you have a lead and you've got those high leverage guys ready to roll. I mean, you've got a really good chance to win a ball game. It's not automatic. Nothing is automatic. But you have got a really, really good chance to win a ball game because of how great those guys are. And that's exactly the way it looked here tonight. Padres win it 2-0. We'll step aside when we come back, get into our daily awards. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, phone number to call. Padres have won the first 2 games of this 3-game series at Petco Park. They go for a sweep tomorrow. More post-game after this.
KWF.
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network from Petco Park on this Saturday evening. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building. Padres will wrap up this series tomorrow, wrap up the second leg, if you will, of this 9-game homestand with the series finale against the A's tomorrow. Padres will try to sweep the A's tomorrow. We'll have more on that game. And the pitching matchup tomorrow did get some news from the A's clubhouse a little bit earlier, so we'll update you on that in just a little while. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open. Day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Want to get a phone call in? 833-288-0973. Phone number to dial. Let's tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Our relief pitcher of the game here tonight will hand it to Mason Miller. Really could give this to any of the four relievers tonight, but why not Mason? Really quick and easy, 1-2-3, ninth inning. Now 16 for 16 in save opportunities, a 0.76 ERA on the season. Did it tonight against his former team, the team that traded him to San Diego last summer in the Athletics. 13 pitches, 8 for strikes. Tell you what, it was nice to see Mason do two things in this game here tonight. A, really have good command from the get-go, because for as great as Mason has been, and he has been great, certainly from a dominance standpoint, a command standpoint, the last few weeks it's been, I don't want to say shakier, because I don't think that's even the adjective to use when you talk about what he's doing right now and even what we saw. I just put it as less dominant, right? He was so good at the start of the season where, like, nobody was even touching him. But the command's been a little bit more erratic at times. Hasn't been as dominant, I guess you could say. And the other thing that's happened over the course of, his last few weeks has been he's just throwing a lot of pitches in these outings. Now, keep in mind, I think it's an important point to make with Mason when you talk about his pitch count. Like, part of that is that he strikes out so many people. Like, there's not a lot of contact, so it's not like he's going out there and he's throwing 8-pitch innings. He strikes out a lot of people. So when you strike out a lot of people, you typically have to throw more pitches. So you look at his pitch totals before tonight. Let me run it back 5 outings here. 29, 20, 34, 22, 22, and then 13 here tonight. So again, that was a little bit of a mix of a little bit of wildness at times, especially in the start of some of the outings, a little bit more base traffic. And again, he's the kind of pitcher that's going to throw more pitches than a lot of guys because he strikes out a lot of people. So tonight's outing was really good, A, because his command was there from the get-go, and B, because he only had to throw 13 pitches. I love Mason Miller when he only has to throw 13 pitches. That's great. That's fantastic. And he struck out 2 out of the 13. So nice outing for Mason Miller. A little sharper, and obviously 1-2-3 inning, nothing to complain about. There's nothing to complain about when it comes to Mason Miller. That's why I'm like delicately dancing around like, oh yeah, he's been a little less dominant, because like he's been so good that I hesitate to make any critique. But yes, he has been throwing a lot of pitches in these outings, and it was nice to see tonight. Very quick, very easy, 13 pitch, 2 strikeout save, and now 16 for 16 in save opportunities. Padres win it here tonight 2-0 against the A's. Let's tell you about the heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order. Presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Part of the order here tonight. Take a look at the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the Padres lineup. Gavin Sheets had a base hit. Manny Machado was 0 for 3. Nick Castellanos 0 for 3. So 1 hit for the heart of the order here tonight. A combined 1 for 10 runs scored for Castellanos after a walk, so that was good. But a quiet night for the entire Padres offense. Again, the Padres only had 2 hits in this game. But you know what's better than 2 hits? Who cares? A Padres win. That's what you care about, a win. And the Padres got it here tonight. 2 hits, the first time the Padres have won a ball game with 2 hits or fewer since June of 2017. It's a rarity, but it does happen. And how about that? The Padres winning a game where they had 2 hits here tonight. And that's a credit to Lucas Giolito battling through trouble, and a big credit to the Padres bullpen as well. When we return, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our play of the game. If you missed my post-game conversation with Mason Miller, we'll play that for you one more time. Padres win it 2-0 against the A's here tonight. We're back after this.
Stay tuned.
Padres win it on this Saturday night, 2-0. The final score here in downtown San Diego. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. We'll have our play of the game coming up in just a little bit. We'll also have our post-game interview one more time for you with Mason Miller. I imagine a lot of you who were at the ballpark tonight, part of the 42,000 plus in the building, may just be getting back to your cars now after enjoying the fireworks show. So we'll replay the Mason Miller post-game conversation for you in just a little bit. But right now, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Let's begin with a doubleheader in Cincinnati today. Cardinals won game one of that doubleheader 8-1. In game two, it went to extras. The Reds had the winning run on third base in the 11th.
1-0. And it's a looping liner up the middle, fielded by the shortstop. Throw coming home. Steer dives in. Safe. He's under the tag. Reds win it. Spencer Steer diving in at home plate under the tag of Pozo on the one-hop throw from Mason Wynn. And the Reds walk it off.
Walk-off win for the Reds, 7-6 in 11 innings. Blake Dunn, that walk-off fielder's choice as the Cardinals and Reds split that doubleheader today. Astros beat the Cubs at Wrigley 3-0. Christian Walker's 13th home run of the season in that game. Cubs have lost 7 in a row. Blue Jays and the Pirates in Toronto. Paul Skeens on the mound for Pittsburgh today. It was George Springer leading off for the Blue Jays.
The wind in the 0-2. He's slammed out to left field and deep and into the second deck. Home run, George Springer, and a massive one at that. 1-0 Blue Jays in the first.
Leadoff home run for George Springer. Paul Skeens takes the loss. Blue Jays win it 5-2 in Toronto today over the Pirates. Those radio calls, courtesy of Reds Radio and Blue Jays Radio. Other scores, Phillies beat the Guardians 3-0 in Philadelphia. Zach Wheeler, 6 scoreless innings and the win in that game. Giants beat the White Sox 10-3 in San Francisco. Willie Adames, Harrison Bader, Casey Schmidt all had home runs in that game. Twins beat the Red Sox 4-2 at Fenway. Marlins beat the Mets 4-1 in Miami today. Liam Hicks had 2 home runs for the Marlins in that one. Nationals beat the Braves 2-0 in Atlanta. Braves got 1 hit in that game, shut out in Atlanta. Royals beat the Mariners 5-0 in Kansas City. Former Padre Stephen Kolek threw a complete game shutout in that game. Kansas City winning at 5-0. Dodgers beat the Brewers 11-3 in Milwaukee. Teoscar Hernandez, his 7th home run of the season in that one. And the Angels beat the Rangers 5-2 in Anaheim. Diamondbacks hung on for a 5-4 win in Arizona. Ketel Marte, a home run in that game for the Snakes. Couple of other notes. Yankees and Rays were postponed in the Bronx today. They'll make that game up on September 22nd. Orioles and the Tigers in Baltimore today, they were rained out as well. They'll make that game up as part of a doubleheader tomorrow. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday evening. Padres win it 2-0 against the A's here tonight. We talked earlier about how weird this game was. It was weird. It was kind of absurd at times with the 11 walks by the starting pitchers. It was like a doozy of a first handful of innings. It really, really was. But the moment of this game, I think no doubt, came in the 4th inning. And it's pretty rare to say a game felt like it was hanging in the balance in the 4th inning when you look back at it. But that's the way it was tonight because the Padres had a 2-0 lead. Lucas Giolito on the mound. Giolito walks the bases loaded. There's 1 out. Jeff McNeil at the plate for the A's. The count goes to 3-2. Giolito clearly having a lot of trouble with his command, and that set up today's play of the game.
1 bounce, 1 hit, 1 pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Here's the pitch. And a ground ball to the right side. France has it on the back end. Goes to second one. Song's return is in time. A double play to end the inning. It was bang, bang, and the A's do not have a challenge. The inning is over.
That's our play of the game, the 3-6-3 double play. Great defense from France to Song and back to Ty France. France, who had a really, really impactful defensive night. And again, the A's did not have a challenge there. They used it very, very early in the game. They had used it on a play in the bottom half of the first inning. They had used it, so they didn't have a challenge. The challenge was in the first inning. So they didn't, they didn't have a challenge in the fourth inning. There was a bang play, as Jesse said, at first base. And look, I didn't see a great replay of it afterwards, to be honest with you, but in real time, it looked like a play you might want to challenge because it was that close. And honestly, from where I was sitting, I thought McNeil beat it. Now I'm sitting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet away, but if it was close, you would imagine there would have been a pretty good chance the A's would have challenged there, but they couldn't. So instead, it was a 3-6-3 double play. The inning was over, and the A's came up empty. And it was a big moment in Lucas Giolito putting together somehow with 5 walks in this game, 5 scoreless innings. And then the Padres again handed things to the bullpen. Estrada a scoreless 6th inning, Morejon a scoreless 7th inning, Adam a scoreless 8th inning, Mason Miller a 1-2-3 9th inning, his 16th save of the season. I caught up with Mason right after the game.
Mason now 16 for 16 in save opportunities this season. The stuff speaks for itself, but what's allowing you to have this kind of consistency?
Just showing up, trying to get the job done every single day. It starts in the afternoon when I get here, and it ends here at the end of the game. So just staying on top of everything, being consistent.
You spoke earlier this week about the respect you have for those guys in the other dugout. You came up with that A's organization. Was it a little weird to face them here tonight?
I thought it was going to be a little bit more weird, but once the game starts, it kind of just feels like another game. I love those guys over there. I owe them a lot, so just grateful to compete with them and always root for them.
Another close game, and this bullpen once again does such an excellent job. The high leverage guys, Estrada, Morejon, Adam, and you. How do you guys continue to just throw up zeros so consistently?
Just rise to the occasion. It's next guy up always. We have a lot of hope, a lot of expectations on every single guy down there, and it's contagious, really. You just want to do your part and get the ball to the next guy.
Mason, another sold-out crowd here tonight. Just how much have you enjoyed playing in these types of games, close games, in this building in particular?
Can't say enough about the fans. They make it great. It's a beautiful ballpark, but it's nothing without the fans that pack it out every single game, and we love playing in front of them each and every opportunity we get.
Mason, another great job here tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was Mason Miller right after tonight's 2-0 win. Mason now 16 for 16 in save opportunities. By the way, before we sign off here tonight, I did want to clarify, because I was sort of racking my brain there when I was talking about the A's not having a challenge. And I'll just be totally honest with you, when I'm walking back from the Western Metal Building in the early part of the game, going back to the booth to watch the game and do my in-game work, I'll be honest with you, I kind of blanked on what the A's did for the challenge, what the play was. Again, as I was walking back, it was Fernando Tatis Jr. getting back into first base on a pickoff attempt from JT Ginn, and the A's, he was ruled safe. The A's challenged that Tatis was out, that Nick Kurtz applied the tag before Tatis got back in, and the challenge was not overturned. So the A's lost their challenge. It was kind of a foolish challenge for the A's that early in the game. And in retrospect, because of that play in the fourth inning, them not having a challenge was an enormous deal. So Padres sort of caught a break there in a way that the A's had already used their challenge, but that's the way it goes. Those are the rules, and I apologize about that. I was sort of sitting here thinking, what was it again? It was Tatis. So I finally figured it out. It was the play in the first inning where Tatis went back in on a pickoff attempt, and he was safe, and A's lost their challenge, which ended up being pretty significant in that fourth inning. All right, looking ahead to tomorrow. First pitch tomorrow, 1:10 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 12:10 for this series finale against the A's. Pitching matchup tomorrow, right-hander Michael King on the mound for the Padres. Right-hander Luis Medina will open up for the A's tomorrow. Try to give you more information tomorrow on the pitching situation. Luis Medina will be the opener. We'll see if it's going to be a true bullpen game, or if the A's do have a bulk guy ready to go. We'll talk more about that on the pregame tomorrow. Again, first pitch at 1:10 p.m. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. Taking a look at the final totals here tonight for the San Diego Padres. 2 runs on 2 hits. No errors. They left on 9. For the A's, no runs, 5 hits, no errors. They left on 8. Winning pitcher tonight, Lucas Giolito, who improves to 2-0 in a Padre uniform. Losing pitcher, JT Ginn, who drops to 2-3. And the save goes to Mason Miller, his 16th save of the season. Time of game, 2 hours, 42 minutes. And the crowd here at Petco Park on this Saturday night, the 22nd sellout of 2026, 42,616. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 1:10 p.m. Pregame coverage begins at 12:10. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Jeff Hamby, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from Petco Park. Again, the final score here tonight, the San Diego Padres 2 and the Athletics 0. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Saturday evening.